I'm underneath this 33-year-old Mercedes, checking things over. And of course, I'm looking at the fuel pumps, the filter, and so on, and thinking, well, gee, this car only has 77,000 miles on it. Look at how old it is. So how many miles, I'll let you do the math. How many miles a year is that? Okay, it's not many. So in keeping with my theme of you need to drive these old classics regularly, this one may be suspect. So this is part 2 in my series on this subject. And in this series, I want to talk about bad gas and the effect it has on these old cars. Now, bad gas can be a problem both with cars and with humans. But what I found is that with a car, you need to have gas to have internal combustion. But with a human being, you need to have internal combustion to have gas. So there's a difference. So the focus will be on gas, bad gas from cars. And with that in mind, I want to take you over to the bench now and show you what bad gas looks like. I think you're going to find this interesting because what you're looking at right here is bad gas. And I know some of you say, what? I thought gas was thin, not thick, like honey. Well, let me tell you the background on this. About 3 weeks ago, I pulled the filter out of an old Mercedes, 1970, and I noticed that the fuel was very smelly in the car, and inside the fuel filter bowl, it was terrible. I could hardly breathe it. And so what I did is I went ahead and poured the excess fuel out of that canister, and I let it sit in this pan for 3 weeks outside. And of course, a lot of the fuel just evaporated off, and this is what's left right here. So think about that. Of course, this is gasoline that has oxidized and aged. It's gasoline that has that 10% ethanol in it, which raises havoc with these old cars that don't get driven. So just imagine this stuff here in your old fuel pumps, in your fuel injectors, in your fuel distributor, even in your warm-up regulator. And you're wondering, well, what's wrong with my car? Won't run right. You can't believe how many emails I get all the time. Hey, I picked up this old Mercedes, it's been sitting for 5 years, and I just can't get it running right. I've done everything. Well, this is why, right here, folks. This is why bad gas, something that cannot be tolerated. So we have a couple of jars of gasoline here. I'm sure by looking at them, you know which one's old. And there's 2 ways. Visually, you can see whether the gas has started to turn and deteriorate. You can also smell it. If I take this little plug out and smell this, it's going to be obnoxious. It's going to want me to jump back. I'll never forget the time I pulled the gas tank out of a 6.3 that had been sitting for 18 years. I had to wear a gas mask. I mean, a full-blown respirator. It was so bad. So smell, you can go up to a car, you know, maybe you're thinking about buying a car and you just pull the cap off the gas tank and take a whiff in there. You can kind of get an idea how regularly it's been driven. But this gas here is about a year old. You can see how it takes on that yellow color. Now here's new gas. That's about 2 weeks from the pump. And it has kind of that light greenish cast to it. Both of these have ethanol in them. There's not much you can do about ethanol, but there is something you can do about prolonging the deterioration of gas from sitting. Most gas, you know, it'll lose its freshness after 3 months. At 6 months, it'll start to get really stale, and at a year, it's going to start to smell badly. Of course, climate makes a difference here. So if you're going to fill your tank up and you know you can't take and drive the car enough to take all of the gas out of the tank, you need to use some sort of gasoline stabilizer. Now they say that if you add stabilizer to new gas, not old gas, new gas, this can extend the freshness of the gas, so to say, up to a year, possibly a year and a half. So I recommend on your cars, if you're going to, let them sit more than 3 months, make sure you put some stabilizer in the fuel. Even if you're not sure, maybe you're going to drive it every month. This isn't going to hurt anything if you put it in there, but just make sure for long-term storage that you put this in the tank if you're not going to be driving it every month. Now, what I've learned from old gas that gets heavily oxidized and starts to deteriorate like this, it plays havoc on rubber hoses. Believe it or not, it will actually start to increase the rate of rotting a hose by you can just soak a hose in old gasoline and soak a hose in new gasoline, come back in a month and you'll be amazed. The hose in the old gas will be swollen. I'm talking about just standard, not specially low permeation fuels. I'm just talking about regular hose. And this also raises havoc with O-rings and diaphragms, rubber type diaphragms. So this is why one of the most common emails I get today is, hey Kent, I just picked up this old Mercedes V8, 6-cylinder, whatever. It was my folks and it's been sitting in the garage for 6 years. I changed the plugs, I changed the wires, I changed the distributor cap. I did all this and it still won't start and run right. There's the cause right there. The old gas in the fuel system has gotten up into either the fuel distributor, the warm-up regulator, the fuel injectors. You can imagine, look at that scene I showed you earlier, all that gummy stuff. It gets in the tip of your fuel injectors. Remember, there's little teeny filters in those fuel injectors. So my admonition to you is don't let your gas go bad in the first place. Now I'm going to take you back over the lift with a different car, and I'm going to show you how you get rid of bad gas. I want to get the old fuel out of this tank. It's about a year old. It's got a little stabilizer. It just doesn't smell good. So if I were going to clean the fuel tank screen, I could pull the screen. And that's pretty messy because it's going to be draining all over the place. I just want to get the gasoline, the old gas out of the tank. I don't know how much because the fuel gauge is jumping around, so I'm going to have a couple 5-gallon cans. But this is what you need right here. You need this to be safe. Because you might think, oh, I'm going to get a 5-gallon can because I only got 4 gallons in the car. Well, what happens when this fills up and you don't have any other cans? You need a way to shut the flow off coming out of the hose. And that's what this clamping tool is. So it's pretty easy on these old models with this fuel pump here. You can clamp the hose off right here. Notice I've got this filter. That's not factory, but that's to collect any rust that might be in these old tanks. I'm going to clamp this hose off so it doesn't come rushing out when I remove the clamp. And then I'll just loosen up the clamp. I'm going to move the clamp back and snug it down so I don't lose it. And then I'm going to get the can over here, right where I want it to go in. And then I'll start twisting the hose. Now as this comes out, I'm just going to get a few drips. See, the drips are actually going to come out of the pump. But look at that. It's not coming out of the hose and spraying all over me or rolling down my arm. So I'll put this inside, make sure this clamp is not going to disappear in the tank. I'll put the hose down in the tank and then I can release the clamping tool. And what I want to do is go loosen up the fuel cap so this will flow out faster. But I'm sitting here and I can actually smell it. I wish I could somehow have you smell this gasoline as I'm filming it because it is old. The old gas is coming out, new gas is coming in. Just drive your car every 30 days for an hour and keep changing the fuel up. Now you're going to get to see why this clamping tool is a must. Look, I'm coming up on full. I didn't think I had that much fuel in this car. It's a good thing I got another 5-gallon jerry can handy, but can you imagine if I tried to pull this hose out and get it started in another can? That's right, it's going to be everywhere. So I'm going to clamp this off again, slowly lift it out. Look at that. Not even dripping. So I don't need to panic. I can take this can, move it off to the side, put the lid on it, get the next one, bring it up into place, get it in there, make sure it's not going to come out, and then release the clamping tool. There we go, flowing again. Who knows how much fuel I have in this tank, but I'm getting this old fuel out of here. So we're done. You know, you can see I've got maybe a gallon down in here, but I get to use the clamping tool again. Clamp this off, bring it out, let it drip a little bit. Okay, and I can get this can out of the way. I can put the hose back on the fuel pump. And I can take the clamp. You can see why I leave the clamp on the hose, right, ready to go. And I can remove the clamping tool. And we're ready to put new fuel in the tank. Isn't that slick? I want to close talking about this 10% ethanol in the fuel today. I know there are some people that will not put any of this in their car. They drive for miles to find some sort of ethanol-free fuel. Where I live, I have to drive 20 minutes to get some, and it's over $6 a gallon. Now, this is my opinion, but if you have a car and you drive it often enough that you don't let the fuel sit in the engine, it's probably okay to put 10% ethanol in your old car. It's going to be your choice, okay? The main thing is because of the ethanol in the fuel, it absorbs moisture, and that causes the oxidation and the deterioration in the fuel much more quickly than non-ethanol based gasoline. Now, you could get aviation gasoline. That's even better, but that's really expensive. So if you have a local source that isn't too expensive of ethanol-free fuel, go for it, you know, and that's what you want to put in your car when you store it. And that's what most people do when they put that in their, you know, jet skis, lawnmowers, or whatever when they store them over winter. But if that's not an option, this here is probably your second best.